very good morning to you. Welcome to the West Ham Voice on a Thursday morning. How many of you are smiling? I mean, come on. After the news that we got on Wednesday afternoon about the transfers that were imminent, surely now we've all cheered up and we can just calm a little bit. When I did my transfer window show on Wednesday morning, I was trying to find reason why we would move from trying to sign 20-year-old John Duran from Aston Villa to 31-year-old Niclas Fullkrug from Borussia Dortmund. And I was puzzled, and I'm sure many of you were, and the suggestions were that yet again, we're using a scattergun approach for transfers. We haven't really got a clear strategy, that David Sullivan was yet again interfering and penny pinching, which is why it was resulting in deals not being done, and we were missing out on transfers, and that it was yet again reminiscent of previous transfer windows, the same slow, sluggish approach to transfer targets. All legitimate concerns, because it was getting to a point where we were just wondering what on earth is going on. Why are we being linked from this kind of player to that kind of player, all very, very different? And what on earth was happening? But I kept telling myself that there must be something more to this. There must be something more than meets the eye. Look, if you're new to the channel, please do hit the like button. It really does help. If you do nothing else, just please hit that like button, because it helps with all the YouTube algorithms and all that sort of stuff. But if you like what you see and what you hear, please do become a subscriber of the channel. It costs you nothing to subscribe. All my content is free, so you don't have to pay anything to listen to the content that I put out. So please do that. Anyway, so why would we make such a dramatic switch? I kept asking myself, from the likes of John Duran to the likes of Niclas Fullkrug. There must be something more to it. One of my theories was that perhaps we were planning to now want to spend our money differently. That targeting a cheap striker meant that we had more money in the kitty to look for alternative targets, such as the left side of midfield, or such as another centre-back, and so on. And lo and behold, for the money that we were going to spend, the money that Aston Villa were asking for, we're now about to sign a striker and a left-sided attacking player for just £32 million. 17 million of that is going to go on Niclas Fullkrug and 25 million on Crysencio Summerville. Now, look, the fee for Summerville is a little bit more, or will end up being a little bit more, but it's an initial £25 million. There are £5 million worth of add-ons, plus a further 4 million of add-ons based on international appearances for the young player. And that seems pretty much nailed on for this excellent 22-year-old attacking midfielder. Now, in most people's eyes, all of a sudden, we're not complaining about Tim Steidten. We're lauding him as the technical director genius in the transfer market that he is. If you throw in the experienced right back Alvarez and Wan-Bissaka for £10 million plus add-ons, all of a sudden, our summer transfer window has gone into orbit. Summerville's medical has been booked for today, Thursday, and they're usually done in 2 stages. So I would expect that the first medical done today will be followed up by another medical on Friday. It's been suggested that with our second stateside cup game coming up against Crystal Palace on Saturday, Lopetegui would love for both Fullkrug and for Summerville, and maybe even Wan-Bissaka, to join the rest of the squad out in America. Now, whether they would actually get any playing time or not, I don't know. That's another matter. But I think Lopetegui would love to have the squad all together. Now, I spoke in detail about Fullkrug in the video that I did on Wednesday, and I've spoken about Wan-Bissaka at length in previous videos as well. So I want to just focus on Summerville and what we know about him. What is it that we're aware of about this player? Well, his full name, Crysencio Gilbert Silverio Chiro Summerville, was born in October 2001 in Rotterdam, Netherlands. He played his youth football for a club called Noorder Norderquata, Norderquartia, I don't know, before signing for Feyenoord Academy in 2008. That was at the age of 7. As well as playing in the Feyenoord Academy teams up to the age of 19, he continued his development with a couple of loan spells to second-tier division clubs in the Dutch leagues, FC Dordrecht and Den Haag. And he signed his first professional contract in 2018. When he turned from his second loan spell at Den Haag, he informed the club that he was not going to extend his contract. That was in the year 2020. So the club decided to sell him, and Leeds bought him for a mere 1.5 million euros in that same year. Summerville spent a season in the under 21s development in the under 21s development squad before making his senior debut for Leeds in 2021. He was used sparingly initially by the then manager Marcelo Bielsa, and primarily used out on the right wing. However, the club saw enough in the player to offer him a new contract in 2022, which he signed, which would have kept him there until 2026. Now, after Bielsa's departure and in the following season, he made 31 appearances, scoring 4 goals with 2 assists. But at the end of that season, Leeds were relegated from the Premier League, and there was speculation that the player would also leave the club. The Yorkshire club managed to keep him and retain him for another season under new coach Daniel Farke, and he switched him from the right side of attacking play over to the left. And he became one of the championship's top players, making 49 appearances in the championship, scoring 21 goals with 10 assists in all competitions. This drew many plaudits from many pundits, and with Leeds failing to get promotion, many felt that it was only a matter of time before Summerville was snapped up. There's been interest in the player from the likes of Liverpool and so on. So it comes as an absolute delight to see that West Ham United have beaten off competition to sign him for a mere initial £25 million. Now, okay, he's going to get, we're going to end up paying more money for the player because, like I said, I think it's only a matter of time before he's called into the Netherlands national squad. He's represented the Netherlands from under 16s all the way up to the under 21s. So I'm expecting probably this coming season that he will be called into the squad. Now, clearly, he's far more successful, as I said. What do we know about him? He's far more successful, as I said, playing out on the left-hand side of the pitch. He's a very dynamic and direct player. He's got explosive pace. I won't say he's a showboater, but he certainly entertains with his ability to dribble past opponents, using his pace and his agility to create goal-scoring opportunities. His ability to cut inside on his stronger right foot allows him to take shots from distance and to deliver accurate crosses into the box. Summerville's work rate and defensive contributions are also quite commendable, making him a valuable asset both in attack and in defence. Now, also, as I already mentioned, he can be utilised on both flanks. He's got that versatility, which I think Lopetegui will like, especially when we know Lopetegui will change systems, change styles, maybe even change formations during a game. We know, for example, Kudus can go out on the left. We know Bowen can go out on the left. We know now that Summerville can switch to a more sort of traditional right wing role if need be. This, I've got to say, it is an exciting deal. It's an exciting transfer. It puts into perspective now why we've decided, as I said earlier on, why we've decided to spend less money on a striker, because the rest of that money is going on a very exciting left-sided attacking player. Now, do the deals for Fullkrug and Summerville mean the end of our interest in John Duran? Kind of seems so. And it seems as if Aston Villa are now going to be stuck with a player that doesn't want to be there and only wanted to come to West Ham. So who knows? Maybe we might go back in for him, but I doubt it will be this summer transfer window, but who knows? What about Fullkrug? Well, I spoke to him in about him in great length in my show that I did on Wednesday. Now, the latest apparently is that despite there being late interest from teams around Europe, such as AC Milan, etc., we've agreed a 20 million euros, something like 17 million pounds, for the player to come to West Ham United. And it seems, by all accounts, that that deal is also done and will be concluded in the coming days. All of a sudden, with him and Summerville coming in, my excitement levels, I've got to say, are pretty high. And that goes along with Aaron Wan-Bissaka. He's won me round. I wanted Carl Walker-Peters, but Aaron Wan-Bissaka, the deal for him apparently is £10 million with 5 million in add-ons. Now, there's just the minor issue of minor details to be sorted out. We know, like I said in the show I did on Wednesday, that he was looking at potentially leaving Man United on a free at the end of the coming season, where he then would have been able to have a huge signing on fee with any club that he would have signed for. But now that that's not happening, there's some kind of compensation package that's being dealt with at Man U. Whether West Ham United are involved in that or not, I don't know. Will there be any more transfer business apart from these three signings? Well, I dare say there may be just one more transfer coming up. And that, of course, is at centre back. Now, look, we are struggling to sell both Kurt Zouma or Nyfagerd. Ideally, we'd like to move one of them on. And if we can't, there's a possibility, and it's not anything I've heard, it's just me speculating. If we can't move either Kurt Zouma or Nyfagerd on, there's a possibility we might look at moving on Dinos Mavropanos. Now, look, for all the three of these centre backs, I think the preference will be to sell them. But if we can't, then potentially we would look for loan deals to send them out on. And that would mean that we have a space in the squad for another centre back to come in. Now, I know Jean-Claire Todibo has got his heart set on Juventus, etc., but that still hasn't been completed. And it could fall through because I think Juventus, my understanding is that they're struggling to get the money that they need, even though it's a loan to buy deal. They're struggling to get the money that they need in order to get that deal over the line. So look out for that. Possibly Todibo. And I would dare say, if not him, then at least all the various other centre backs that we've been linked to quite possibly would come in place of one of the current centre backs that we have. Now, just some other updates before I go. I'm sure you've seen Edson Alvarez, the video of Edson Alvarez arriving in America to be with the squad. And of course, on Wednesday, we also saw Niclas Paqueta arriving in America as well. Now, whether either of them will feature in the game against Crystal Palace on Saturday, I don't really know. But it's great to see them back with the squad. Now, the only other players that are still missing are Alphonse Areola and Jared Bowen. And I don't know when they're due back, maybe back before the game is played on Saturday, but I'm not so sure. But they're the last two players that have been on international duty that are not yet back with the full squad. And finally, if you recall, last Friday, I did a show about Lewis Orford, asking what's going on and the whole issue about his contract. Now, my understanding on Wednesday is that a 5-year deal has been offered, but I've not yet been told whether that's been agreed or not. But it's on the table, and all the signs is that Orford will sign a new contract for 5 years. Now, if that's done, I'm expecting Orford in the coming season to go out on loan, and I imagine a few other academy players will go out on loan as well. Callum Marshall, possibly Gideon Kodua, and maybe even Caelan Casey, our centre-back. These players have been with the squad, pre-season training with the squad. And if they may not just be ready just yet. And I mean, we had a few failed loan spells for Callum Marshall. They didn't use him at all, apart from a couple of sub appearances at West Brom. Gideon Kodua went out on loan at Wycombe Wanderers. He joined Freddie Potts out there, but he was used kind of sparingly as well. So I think a few of these players will probably go out on loan, ready to come back to stake a claim in the squad next season. Sorry, not the season coming up, the season after that. We're going to have gaps again in the squad. So wouldn't it be nice to actually fill them with academy players rather than having to look in the transfer market? I think Orford will be one of those players, like I said, will go out on loan as well. I think the only player that probably won't go out on loan next season is Freddie Potts. He had a terrific loan spell at Wycombe Wanderers. He was used regularly. I think he was voted player of the season for them as well. So I think Potts is probably a lot closer to staking a claim in the senior squad in the upcoming season than most of the other academy players at this moment in time. So I'm kind of expecting Freddie Potts to be part of the squad on a regular basis, but we'll see. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening. Like I said, if you enjoyed the content, please do subscribe. Please do hit the like button, and there'll be plenty more coming up as well. And I'll see you all very soon.